Hello and welcome to Cup of Tea Reviews. My name is Tim and I'm joined as always by Michael.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me.
Tim, we watch movies to be entertained, but so many of them are duds.
We watch the movies that can go either way, good or bad, and we let you know if they're worth your while.
We waste our time so that you don't have to.
We are joined by a very special guest. It is our friend Jake Pritchard. Welcome back.
Happy to be here.
This week we are watching 1999 classic Wild Wild West. It is a sci-fi western starring Will Smith and Kevin Kline. Michael, please give us your hot take.
Tim, this movie was not my cup of tea, but it was a spectacle that was wild to watch. So there's some things in here that absolutely are worth watching, but in the grand scheme of things, this is not a good movie. What about you, Jake?
I felt the same way. I remember this movie being fun when I was a kid. I didn't have fun watching this. This was not my cup of tea.
This one was my cup of tea because it checks off enough criteria. We got a couple of very committed performances. Kenneth Branagh going so far over the top that he can't even see the top from where he's at. The pacing is pretty quick because it's so episodic. It just goes boom, boom, boom. And finally, it is memorable. I do remember this movie, and I will remember that giant, stupid tarantula robot, Kenneth Branagh's weird facial hair, and the extreme horniness of this movie. I will remember those elements. So it's a reluctant cup of tea for me, but it checks off the boxes.
So, Tim, what's it about?
This adaptation of the 1960s TV series follows impetuous cowboy Jim West and eccentric inventor Artemis Gordon as they protect America from a crazed former Confederate madman. Michael, where do you want to start with this one?
Well, let's start with what we like, since you said this was your cup of tea. I like the fact that this is an insanely big budget movie. That's why this made it on our list to begin with.
Yep.
Adjusted for inflation, and this movie cost over $300 million to make. And you see that money on the screen. There's so much happening. The sets are elaborate. The costumes are wild. Every single scene that you see is just expensive. And you can feel that, and it's fun to see a spectacle. So I really like that about this movie. What about you, Jake? What did you like?
The casting is pretty fantastic. They have got a lot of good names in here. Kevin Kline, Will Smith, Kenneth Branagh, Selma Hayek. And they all do give
They give performances.
committed performances, if nothing else. And Will Smith in his like peak 90s swagger, kind of just doing his thing, is always kind of fun to watch. And Kevin Kline had just won the Oscar for a comedy. And that does kind of show through here.
What worked for you here, Tim?
And this is not strong praise. Okay, this is not a well-brewed cup of tea for me. But I really like Kenneth Branagh. Let me rephrase. I really like how much Kenneth Branagh commits to this performance. I like Will Smith, given his full, suave, charming persona. Kevin Kline has some moments that I enjoy. Selma Hayek is very beautiful in a nothing role. The money is on the screen. I really do like the production design and the sets in this movie. Also, the CGI is not bad. It holds up pretty well. They've got some really great CGI work and some really great models. The money is on the screen, and I like watching $300 million get set on fire in front of me. Now, that said, this is a bad movie. All right. The performances are all over the place. The pacing is all over the place. The story doesn't really make any sense. And it just kind of hops from scene to scene to scene without any sort of connective tissue. It's a bad movie. But like I said, it checks off enough boxes. What didn't work for you guys?
I want to build on what you said, Tim. The movie has the feeling of a cartoon, right? You talk about the episodic nature of the picture, and 100% you have just these little, like, 10-minute, 20-minute set pieces where they've got a really fun episode, again, of a cartoon, where you have your characters are doing something zany, and then as soon as that's done, boom, you're moving on to the next crazy thing. However, intermixed with that were some really jarring elements. Yeah. There was a lot of humor about Kevin Branagh's character being in a wheelchair. There was a lot of weird racism. There was a lot of horniness. Like, there was just a lot of stuff that then didn't fit kind of that like weird childish cartoon. I mean, Jake, you talked about liking it when you were young. I totally get that, right? It's got that feel. So that didn't work for me. What about you, Jake?
Well, all the performances are very committed, but they're all committed to doing the same thing, which is being comedic relief. Everyone is trying to just like take the reins and be the funny one in every scene. So there's no straight man to play off of. It makes those elements even more jarring with like the racism and the talk of the Confederacy and all these different things. There was a bunch of good puzzle pieces that all went to different puzzles and did not fit together in this movie.
We've seen Will Smith do it well in movies like Men in Black, where he's got a very good straight man playing opposite of him. They don't do that here, and that didn't work for me. So I totally agree with what you're saying. What about you, Tim?
I mean, honestly, I've got a lot of problems with this film. I do think it's poorly constructed and poorly put together. An issue that I have is that all the female characters are just props. And that really was annoying, and it really was frustrating to watch, a great actress like Selma Hayek literally just be there to be ogled. It's really frustrating. When would you guys recommend the film?
For me, Tim, it goes back to what you said about watching $300 million just burned away in front of you. That's what this movie is, and it's really good to look at. And it said CGI holds up well. It's just everything is extravagant and over the top. It's really, really fun just to see the crazy things they spent money on. Kevin Branagh's character's in a wheelchair that has like a steampunk thing going on in the back. They built that. Someone built that, and then he like drove it around the set. Like that's crazy. When you see things like that, it's really fun to watch. So that is something that for me I'd recommend if you want to see a ton of money burned on something really bad. What about you, Jake?
This movie really pissed me off because there's so many amazing elements, like the production design, all the casting, all the committed performances. This should have been a really good, fun movie, but it crashes and burns so hard in almost like every conceivable way. So if you really just want to see like the Tower of Babel burn, that's when you want to watch this movie.
So, Tim, when would you recommend the movie?
I wouldn't recommend this movie. Like I said, it ticks enough boxes that it becomes my cup of tea, but it's not a good enough movie and it's not a fun enough movie. I would feel better about recommending other movies before I recommended this one. There are better dumpster fires. Thank you all for watching.
Join us next time on Cup of Tea Reviews.